So today I caught one shad. I lost another, but both of them eventually led me to a decent sized bass for a Scout Lake to end the day. I went out with a simple goal, try to catch some bass and try hooking up on some trout that recently got stocked in the lake. But the lure I brought out to catch said trout ended up hooking me onto something that I totally didn't expect. I'll go over just exactly what that lure was in the video. And maybe you can hook up on some shad with it too. And let me know, have you caught shad with artificial lures before? I don't really use live bait, so it'd be interesting to see what else shad will bite as far as artificials go. Look at all that stuff. I know I probably brought an overkill amount of gear, but I'm still learning how to get dialed in. Plus, I was going to need all the help I could get on this cold and windy January day to find where the fish were and find exactly what they were biting. Anyways, let's just get into some footage, yeah? First shad. I'd only ever seen shad in this size. You know the babies that school up in the hundreds near docks and near grass? Well, I caught this good-sized gizzard shad on a 1/8 rooster tail. A 1/8 rooster tail of all things. And I know technically I did snag him in his dorsal fin, but I know he bit it. And if you watch this next clip, you'll see shad will bite a rooster tail, and then they'll bite it again, and then they'll bite it again. Oh, fuck. That one was so close. And if you look closely at the end of that clip, you could see he had it in his mouth. When he dashes to his left and I move my rod to the left trying to pin him, he pops out of the water, and for a split second you could see the hook right on the edge of his mouth. I don't know how he slipped off. But that got me thinking maybe I should downsize to a 1/16 rooster tail. I didn't have one at the time, so I went out and bought one to try it for another day. And those weren't the only two interactions with the shad. I had at least 4 more quick strikes while slow rolling that rooster tail through the water. I'm definitely going to keep the 1/16 rooster tail on me from now on, and if I ever see any shad, I'm throwing it straight back out there. All right, we're done with the rooster tail for today. See how we're gonna get this up here. Here he comes. Cut on this rope shaker. Got those red lips. It must be cold. Nice. It's a fatty. Bye. So after having fun with the rooster tail, it was time to start focusing on catching some bass. I figured the rooster tail wasn't going to get me any trout. I didn't think it was going to get me a bass either. So I put a soft swim plastic on and I started casting it on the opposite side of the bridge. Look how those wires make it feel like you're fishing from a jail cell. You literally have to cast it over the wires and then either put your rod over the wire and grab it so that you're holding it through the middle, or just find a way to flick it with your hands straight through the middle. We finally found what we were looking for, that elusive wintertime bass at Escarate Lake. It wasn't special in terms of size by any means. What mattered was that it confirmed everything that was going on in the area prior to finding it. The shad we caught, all the misses, the bites that didn't end up in hookups, they confirmed that the bass were nearby and active. This wasn't a numbers day, but it was one of those days that reminded me paying attention matters. Not every good fishing day starts with a bass. Sometimes it starts with a surprise, and it ends with a few lessons. See you on the next fishing adventure.